What is up, XRP community? Welcome back to another video. This one is packed filled with information, and if you like XRP and learning about the markets, you're going to want to watch this till the very end. If you guys like this content, join the Telegram group. It's a free chat group to talk about crypto. In the future, it'll cost money, but it's free right now. So if you like this type of content, join the Telegram, links in the video description below. So Flare networks, this will enable, Flare technologies will enable smart contracts on the XRP ledger. The reason Ethereum is so successful and the reason all developers in the blockchain space work and build on Ethereum is because of the innovation of smart contracts. Flare is bringing smart contracts to the XRP ledger. And good news, if you had XRP 2 years ago for this airdrop, we finally are getting our tokens. It's been delayed for a long time. Token distribution for Flare networks, T-1 month. And then a really fast update on the lawsuit. So XRP and Ripple and the SEC have requested that the court set a deadline of January 4th by which non-parties must ask to seal any portions of the summary judgment. So next deadline that should be on your mind, the 4th of the new year, January 4th, 2023. And we're seeing this lawsuit finally come to an end. And check this out about SBF. He was asked to testify in front of Congress. And Maxine Waters, this congresswoman, said, based on your role as CEO, in your media interviews, it's clear that you have information and that you need to testify, because he was trying to say he wasn't ready to testify. And it's good to see he is going to testify on the 13th. It's crazy that this guy isn't already locked up, but at least he is going to testify, and hopefully we can get some understanding from that. If you guys haven't learned anything from the SBF FTX meltdown, keep your crypto wallet on a ledger. They have a new product, this Stacks thing. I have a Nano X and a Nano S Plus. This is the most secure way to store your crypto. I say if you have a few $100 worth of crypto, this is a worthy investment, because in the future, you never know what that crypto could be worth. So just a friendly reminder, if you don't have one, get a Ledger wallet. Link is in the video description below. And check this out. We have a Democrat congressman opening an investigation how Gary Gensler has failed fundamentally as a regulator, right? They talk about in the lawsuit that the SEC chose to dedicate scarce times and resources to investigating Kim Kardashian rather than shady crypto exchanges. And I've been saying for a while now, it's crazy that Gary Gensler still has a job when he's failing at such a massive level. $10 billion wiped out in this FTX fraud. And the guy, Sam Bankman-Fried, is still going to get off scotch-free. I mean, it's kind of ironic. His name's Bankman, right? And if you know anything about bankers, you never really can trust a banker. Interesting tweet from BitBoy, all right? This is when Gary Gensler was confirmed as the leader of the financial policy team. Keep in mind that Gary Gensler and FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried were meeting behind closed doors, right? After he takes the lead, Gary Gensler, the FTX price goes from $3 all the way to $51, a nice almost 20x return. All you need to know about the SBF Gary Gensler relationship and collusion in one chart. Unfortunately, we live in a political system where money is power, and if you get in the right meetings and you pay the right people, basically paying lobbyists and donating to PACs, political action committees. You can't actually just pay people, that'd be illegal. But it's a pay-to-play system, and this whole SBF FTX thing has really illustrated that. But it's good to see that the U.S. House of Representatives is finally applying some pressure to Gary Gensler, because he's fundamentally failed as the head of the SEC. He's not protecting investors. He's going after Kim Kardashian and innovative companies like Ripple. Speaking of innovative companies, a quick clip from the IMF, and then I want to tell you about some crazy stuff with the IMF and Ripple. If you don't know the International Monetary Fund, it's very, very powerful. I just want to play the first 30 seconds of this.
Advanced economies are also potentially susceptible to financial stability risks from crypto assets. Given that institutional investors had been increasing their stablecoin holdings, attracted by higher returns of DeFi platforms in what had been a low interest rate environment. This is why we think it is important that regulatory authorities move quickly to manage the risks that crypto assets generate, while not stifling innovation.
This is what I've been saying the whole time. Regulatory action is not bad. Regulation will be good for crypto. It'll open the door for more institutional investors. However, you need to make sure you don't stifle innovation. Ripple and a lot of their products are extremely innovative. And I think this just speaks to what the SEC is doing with its enforcement actions against Ripple. So it's good to see that the IMF is kind of on our side. In LBRY, they were the ones that lost their token lawsuit, a similar lawsuit to Ripple, but has a lot of differences. Based on the SEC versus LBRY ruling, any cryptocurrency which meets these three facts is a security. Large token holdings, the holdings are publicly known, the token is seeing active work. Unfortunately, that seems to apply to an awful lot of blockchain networks. This would definitely apply to Ethereum and a lot of protocols. With this SEC LBRY ruling, we essentially have the precedent that all these blockchain protocols, not all of them, but 99% of them, could be deemed securities. So just like the guy from the IMF was saying in that previous clip, where's the pass for utility? We need to adjust these laws, and hopefully in the future it won't be the Howey test, it'll be the Ripple test that illustrates and provides guidance on what is and what is not a security. Now look at this right here. BlackRock, the fourth arm of the US government, the most powerful hedge fund in the world, $10 trillion in assets under management. They say get ready for a recession unlike any other. What worked in the past won't work now. If you guys enjoy my videos, hit that like button. I'll never ask you for money. I just will ask you to hit the like button. It supports a lot and I'm genuinely appreciative of it. And it's the holiday season. So if you want to give me a gift, just smash the like button. The global economy has entered a period of elevated volatility, and previous investing approaches won't work anymore. A recession is imminent. I think we're already in one. But central banks won't be able to support markets this time by loosening policy. A recession is foretold as central banks race to try to tame inflation. It's the opposite of past recessions, right? They literally redefined, Janet Yellen, what a recession is probably about like 6 months ago. So personally, I think we're already in a recession and things aren't looking good. But on the flip side, that might mean there's going to be some really good deals on some assets that are going to appreciate a lot. Think about cryptocurrency and digital assets. They are the most highest appreciating asset class in the history of the world. There's never been wealth creation like there has been with digital assets. And what a great opportunity to be able to buy the highest appreciating asset class in the world at a 95% discount. And now look at this right here. What blockchain company is meeting with the likes of Christine Lagarde, right? Christine Lagarde, if you don't know who that is, she's the head of the International Monetary Fund. And all these other people are either big government central bankers. Well, central banks aren't even part of the government, but they're pretty much all high-ranking banking officials from every continent in the world. And then who do we have right here? Dee Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple. And you can't understate that this blockchain company is different than the rest because you don't just get into these meetings for doing nothing. And look at this right here. JP Morgan joins forces with Ripple partner in the UAE. JP Morgan is now partnered with UAE, United Arab Emirates-based Al Fardan Exchange. The money transfer firm's clients will be able to make transfers in all these different fiat currencies. And Al Fardan Exchange announced its partnership with RippleNet, Ripple's cross-border payment network, in January 22. Hundreds and hundreds of powerful banks use RippleNet. Now, RippleNet does not utilize XRP. However, I've said this many times, banks will not use XRP until there's regulatory clarity. Banks have hundreds of lawyers, and there's too much liability for a bank to use an unregulated crypto asset. Now, what Ripple's doing with RippleNet is they're garnering business relationships, right? It's not your net worth, it's your network, right? It's who you know. And Ripple has their foot in the door with all these banks, right, to use RippleNet. They're using it now. So when they receive regulatory clarity, not if, but when, all these banks will be able to use the on-demand liquidity product. And why wouldn't they? So in a matter of weeks, a day, 2 days, all these banks could start using XRP. There is potential for that. Banks are the business of money. On-demand liquidity saves them money by allowing them to send the money faster so they don't have to pre-fund accounts, and also having very low transaction fees. So there's no rational argument, if XRP has regulatory clarity, why these banks won't use RippleNet. And look at this right here. Who is Christine Lagarde meeting with now? United Arab Emirates leader, okay? The United Arab Emirates, like I just said, has partnered with a Ripple partner, okay? Now, why do I keep showing Christine Lagarde and the IMF? It's because the IMF plans to be the world's central bank. Here, there's a conference in 2016. The conference was called Bretton Woods at 75, celebrating the International Monetary Fund and World Bank turning 75 years old, right? This is not a conspiracy. This is a government, big banker, the powers that rule everything having this conference. The focus was on how the US dollar as the world's reserve currency is something less optimal for the global financial system. The second message that was given was that there is a need for more equal power structure between major currencies, the US dollar, the euro, the renminbi, which would effectively mean a reduction in the global role for the US dollar. Every world currency has a timeline associated with it, a lifespan, and the US dollar has ended that lifespan. The US dollar, aka the petrodollar, because all oil sales were done in the dollar, is breaking down. Saudi Arabia in the past year, for the first time ever, has accepted payments for their oil outside of the dollar, which if that doesn't mark to you the end of the dollar, amongst many other things, I don't know what will. Now, in this conference, they talk about the Keynes-Trifflin plan, which was discussed in 1944, but they rejected the plan, and they set up the plan for the US dollar to be the world reserve currency. The reason the Keynes-Trifflin plan is interesting is because the Keynes plan would have involved the creation of an international monetary unit, the Bancor. In my opinion, I think XRP could be this international monetary unit. The Bancor is a supranational currency, so it doesn't belong to one country. It's just a global currency. And this newly created supranational currency would be used in international trade as a unit of account within a multilateral clearing system, the International Clearing Union, which would also have to be founded. International Clearing Union in this case is the International Monetary Fund. And how do I know that? Well, at this same conference, the IMF says this. Christine Lagarde says this. You could imagine the IMF could centralize reserve sharing agreements by administering a global reserve facility. The IMF could also try to multilateralize decentralized parts and largely discretionary networks of bilateral swap lines, either by acting as a central counterparty clearinghouse for these bilateral swap lines and absorbing some part of counterparty risk. It is thus evident in how they envision the IMF as becoming a counterparty to the central banks. An argument was made that the IMF could essentially lower the sovereign risk between central banks, since if the IMF absorbed the risk instead of central banks, they could lower the risk for central banks. It was put forward in this way, and I quote, "The IMF could show up as an intermediary between the Federal Reserve, since we're talking about dollars and other central banks. And why I say it's an intermediary is because many countries, say India or Brazil, would enjoy benefiting from the swap lines, but do not because the Federal Reserve worries about sovereign risk. The IMF could appear in the middle, taking on the risk because the swap line is backed with its SDR. Say with the dollar and then give a swap line to the Indian rupee or Brazilian real. So like right now, the US Federal Reserve does not swap with these risky economies because there's too much risk. If the IMF was the central bank for the central banks, then the US could swap with the IMF, and then the IMF could swap with Brazil, India, these countries that have more economic volatility. So which actually would be good. It would kind of globalize swap lines. So essentially the IMF is the global central bank. And now for a great clip from Brad Garlinghouse. It's really quick.
Holding back crypto at large is tribalism. Holding back crypto at large is tribalism. I mean, Ripple has invested in over 60 companies. We've invested hundreds of millions of dollars, close to $500 million, in about 60 different companies across the crypto landscape. Some of them are involved with XRP, some of them aren't. I truly believe all boats can rise, and I think the whole industry, frankly, needs to stop taking shots at each other and try to like support each other and try to actually help people be successful.
What other companies in the blockchain space are investing hundreds of millions of dollars into all different types of crypto companies? It's just another reason to be bullish on Ripple amongst the landslide of other reasons. If you guys are still watching, comment BlackRock below so you made it to the end of the video. If you're still watching and you can hear this, I appreciate it. When you watch the full video to the end, it helps the video a lot, so it's really supportive. So thank you. I hope you have a great weekend. And if you're still watching, let me know you're a loyal supporter by commenting BlackRock. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your family. As always, until next time.